Now introduce JBG 40KI rebar thread rolling machine. JBG 40KI rebar thread rolling machine can not only adjust freely in the range of 14 to 40 mm, but also eliminate the problem that the rebar end becomes bigger. It can further guarantee construction quality. Machine design is reasonable. One hand can process both left-handed thread and right-handed thread. It's easy to maintain, only takes 5 minutes to replace cutting tools. The cutting tools adopt self-opening system. It only takes 30 seconds to finish rebar thread processing after one-time clamping. Rebar parallel thread processing adopts rotating and cold extruding technology. There is no force thread on rebar end and precision is high. It doesn't destroy bottom diameter of rebar parent material. The joint strength is higher than that of parent material. It can be widely used to process HRB 335, HRB 400, HRB 500, hot rolled ribbed reinforced bar. Rebar diameter it can process is 14 to 40 mm. JBG 40KI rebar thread rolling machine structure and name. Machine is mainly made up of 9 parts: machine rack, clamp, machine head, reducer, motor, feed mechanism, blade open and close mechanism, cooling system and electric control system. Electric control system is made up of breaker, AC contactor, control transformer, time relay, terminal, throw-over switch, travel switch, 3-point switch. Machine head is the main core part of the machine. It can be divided into 2 parts: rib stripping head and thread rolling head. Rib stripping part is made up of slide bush, positioning disc, clamp ring, cutter, cutting body, cutting blade, threader pad, spring and spring pin. Thread rolling part is made up of flange plate, front axle cover, back axle cover, supporting sleeve, inside ring gear, small gear, adjusting gear, lead bush, roller, and eccentric shaft. JBG 40KI rebar thread rolling machine installation. First, fasten the set screws to back axle cover. Then install 6 lead bushes. Lead bushes have 6 sides and thin side. When installing right-handed thread, the 6th side is fixed to set screws. Install supporting sleeve and insert eccentric shafts. Fasten 3 M12 screws at the back axle cover. Install small gears, square case, and elastic retaining rings. 3 keys on eccentric shafts should be pointed at the same center. Install inside gear ring into back axle cover and engage with 3 small gears. Install adjusting gear into flange plate. Then, R-arc at back axle cover, point at adjusting gear. Install seal ring. Fasten 6 M10 40 inner hexagon screws at flange plate. For example, install number 2 rollers. Rollers are divided into number 2 first, number 2 second, number 2 third. When installing rollers, we should distinguish between right-handed thread and left-handed thread. When installing right-handed thread, the rollers are installed clockwise. The sequence is first, second, third. Mark set of 3 rollers should be outward. Insert 3 set screws into front axle cover. The 6th set of lead bushes point at set screws and fasten. Then install front axle cover. Pinholes point at locating pins. Insert 3 eccentric shafts into front axle cover. Fasten 3 M12 screws into screw holes. Thread rolling head is finished. Now install rivet stripping head. Install cutting blade into slot of cutting body. Fasten M8 inner hexagon screws at the side of cutting body. Put pressure pad into the slot at the back of cutting body. Put spring into the spring hole of cutter and spring pin into spring. Put cutting body into the slot of cutter. Twist the M8 inner hexagon screws into cutting body. Fasten the screws of pressure pad and fix cutting body. Fix 4 cutting bodies onto cutter. Then use 4 M10 inner hexagon screws to fix cutter on front axle cover. Then install clamping ring inside the slide bush. Install positioning disc and slide bush in correct direction. Fasten 4 M10 screws. Point the locating slot on slide bush at the locating hole of front axle cover. Install slide bush outside the supporting sleeve. Fix by M10 screws. Loosen the screws at cutting bodies and let them fly freely. Now, rivet stripping head installation is finished. Machine head is complete. JBG 40KI rebar thread rolling machine adjustment. The reducer should be filled with number 30 to 46 in the oil to the oil level. Pour blended 1 to 20 cutting fluid into the water receiving disc and let it flow into water tank. Connect 380 voltage power and switch on breaker in electrical cabinet. The cutting fluid flows from thread rolling head. Then place the throw-over switch to right-handed direction. Press the green button of 3-point switch to start machine. Thread rolling head turns anti-clockwise. If it turns clockwise, please invert inlet power lines. Note: press green button, it turns clockwise. Press red button, it stops. Press white button, it turns anti-clockwise. For example, rolling 25 mm rebar. Now, introduce the adjustment of right-handed thread and left-handed thread. Right-handed thread. Loosen 6 M10 inner hexagon screws. Use M14 open-end wrench to loosen the adjusting gear. Insert small end of test stick into the middle of the 3 rollers and adjusting gear. Through the 3 rollers, bed test stick. Slightly loosen adjust gear. Pull out test stick and fasten 6 M10 screws at the back of blend plate. Then fasten clamping ring with 3 M16 external hexagon screws to prevent the thread diameter becomes bigger. Loosen 4 M10 screws in positioning disc. Insert the big end of test stick into the middle of 4 cutting blades. Adjust in positioning disc and let 4 cutting blades touch test stick. Fasten 4 M10 screws. Take out test stick. Adjustment is finished. Now process 30 mm thread length on 25 mm rebar. Turn plate handle and let the indicator point at 30 mm on the scale. Place rebar end against the cutting body. Use clamp to fix the longitudinal rib tightly. Try to process the first 25 mm rebar. Rebar thread testing method. Use go ring gauge and no go ring gauge to test the rebar thread. Time relay can control delay from 1 second to 10 seconds. If the thread is improper, adjust the machine further. Take rolling 25 mm rebar as example again. Now introduce the adjustment of left-handed thread. Fasten screws of cutting bodies and let them fixed. Remove 6 screws of slide bush. Take off slide bush and positioning disc. Remove 3 M12 inner hexagon screws. Take off front axle cover and cutter. Take off rollers from eccentric shafts. Then remove set screws. Tension side of lead bush to screw holes and fasten set screws. Install rollers. The rollers should be installed anti-clockwise. The sequence is first, second, third. Tension side of lead bush to set screws at front axle cover. Fasten 3 M12 inner hexagon screws and install front axle cover ready. Point the locating slot on slide bush at the locating hole of front axle cover. Install slide bush outside supporting sleeve, fixed by M10 screws. Loosen the screws at cutting bodies and let them slide freely. Then adjust the thread rolling and rib stripping. Place the rollover switch to left-handed direction. 10 feet handle, and let the indicator point at 30 mm on the scale. Place rebar end against the cutting body. Use clamp to fix the longitudinal rib tightly. Try to process left-handed thread on the first 25 mm rebar. Press green button, machine head turns clockwise to strip ribs. After rib stripping, cutting body is open. Press red button to stop machine. Then press white button, machine head turns anti-clockwise and roll left-handed thread.